I want them to miss.
No rush.
I don't want them to miss anything.
Just got some fresh caffeine in me.
In the morning,
All right.
I watch the video.
We're live.
The surge.
Like always do.
Can you guys hear us? Please comment.
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Here we go. Floor is yours. Thank you, Dr. Doc.
No problem. Make sure this works real quick. Yep, awesome. All right, well, you too, thank you so much for joining me today. And for those of you at home, thank you for joining me as well. This is our Better Results Faster course. I'm Dr. Doss. You should already know me. If you don't, then here I am. Essentially, what we're going to be going over today is our 5 essentials. So basically, we're just going to be talking about the 5 things that you need to do or what you need to follow via our office in order to get better results faster, because that's what this is all about, right? So I like to start by asking some rhetorical questions, and usually I have people show of hands, but it's just going to be us 3 in here, so I'm just going to kind of talk through it, okay? So we're obviously here because we want greatness, right? Like, nobody in here wants to get cancer. Nobody in here wants to gain weight and be more sluggish or have issues with their health, right? We want to lose weight. We want to be fit. We want to be fast. We want to be lean. We want to be mean. That's what this class is all about. So thank you so much for joining me today. This is our Better Results Faster class. So we're going to be talking about 3 things, right? Essentially is our problem, which is, worse results slower, which is basically what's going on today over time. This is exactly what we're trying to avoid. We are a different type of healthcare system here. So better results faster is what we aim for. We don't want to basically put somebody in a system that isn't going to work, or basically give somebody what they don't need or slightly what they need so that they're kind of inching their way there but not really making it. The path here is going to be our 5 essentials, and the plan is what's going to be going on right now. So what are the 5 essentials? We've got our maximized mind, your maximized nerve supply, quality and nutrition, oxygen and lean muscle, and then you got to be eliminating those toxins as well. All of these are very, very important, and we're going to be explaining why right now. So our max mind, where the magic happens. You have to be outside of your comfort zone. And the reason that this is so important is because inside of your mindset, you're not changing. If you're thinking the same, you're doing the same actions. If you're doing the same actions, your life is going to be the same. And there's not going to be any progress towards any of your goals or what you have in mind, especially coming into our office. So Dr. Osborne likes to tell me a story, right? And I really like this story because it's a little crazy. Just kind of have like a 6th sense of humor like that. But basically, there is a gentleman who is in search of higher knowledge. So he's going to all these different sages and these gurus, and he's looking for the secret, right? The secret to becoming something greater than himself, the secret to that like deep down success that you really, really want. And so people are coming up short for him. He's learning some things here and there. He's basically like not really getting exactly what it is that he wants. And at the end of the day, he finds one sage. Go ahead, yeah. And he asks the sage, like, what is it? What's the secret? How do I become this best version of myself, or like adapt and become the most important, reach my potential in this universe, right? And the sage looks him up and down and goes like, okay, meet me at the beach tomorrow. I'll show you. So bright and early, the gentleman gets up, big smile on his face, walks down to the beach, meets the sage. And he's like, okay, what's the secret? What do I do? The sage is like, all right, you see the beach right there? It's like, yeah. It's like, walk out into the water. And he goes, okay. So he starts walking out into the water, and he looks back. The sage is like, keep going. He starts walking out into the water. Now he's like kind of up to his hips, right? At that like make or break point where it's like super freezing. And you're like looking back out, but he's like, now I gotta know the secret. So I'm gonna deal with some cold water. Sage is like, keep going. Starts walking out up to his neck, kind of like up to his nose, and he like looks back, and the sage is like standing there, like, and he kind of looks at him. The sage just grabs him and shoves him underwater. And so at first the gentleman is kind of confused. He's like, okay, what's going on here? Starts to look around, right? Starts looking at fish, starts noticing some underwater algae, things like that. But then after a second, he starts running out of oxygen. So he starts trying to stand up, and the sage is just holding him there firmly underwater. The gentleman starts to freak out. The oxygen is slipping from his body. He starts to fight aggressively for his life because he feels like he's drowning. He's losing his air. He doesn't want to die. He starts scratching the stage, fighting anything that he can do to basically pull up and get out of that situation, right? Still, the stage is holding him down. He's freaking out. He's trying to rip his arms off. And then finally, the stage lets him up, right? And the gentleman gets up. He's obviously pissed, right? Because he's like, yo, you just tried to murder me. Like, what was that all about? And the sage just looks at him and laughs and goes, when you want success as badly as you wanted to breathe in that moment, that's when you'll find the secret. And that is where our mind shift starts, right there. You have to want it as badly as you want to breathe. It has to consume everything you want. And basically, one word for what I'm talking about is desire, right? So, desire is where all great things start in this life. You have to want something before you get it. Sometimes you get lucky and the universe just blesses you with amazing things. I mean, you know, I've been blessed with a few things before, and I know everybody has as well. But if you want to do something that you've never done before, you have to desire it. So, there's a little poem that I like to quote. It's called, it's by Jesse D. Rittenhouse, and it's called My Wage. It basically just proves to you exactly what I'm saying here. And the poem goes, I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged that evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is just an employer. He or she gives you what you ask. But once you accept the wages, why, you must bear the task. I worked for a menial hire only to learn dismayed that any wage I would have asked of life would have willingly paid. What does that mean?
You set our expectations low. And I think I find it in my own personal experience that I don't give myself enough credit where I can set my expectation and achieve that expectation.
Exactly, right? So basically the expectation that you have from yourself or what you want out of life is achievable. It can be given to you. So go for as high as you can, like shoot for something beyond your normal mindset. Go outside of your comfort zone like that very first slide. Because at the end of the day, if you want something better than yourself, that's what you're going to be working toward and that's what you're going to become, right? Yeah. So the next thing besides desire that you need in order to become that thing is faith, right? Faith that the power that made your body has the ability to heal your body, which is why you're here. Faith that you have the ability to change and to adapt and become all these amazing things, which is also why you're here and why I'm talking to you right now. Because if you didn't believe that, you would be in our office, right? Exactly. So, and then also, you have to have an emotion mixed in to make it last, right? There's a saying that people don't believe, or people don't remember what you teach them, they remember how you make them feel. And the reason that sticks is because they have that sticks, that emotion sticks with you in your brain. If you've ever met somebody exceptionally kind and they have an off day, you know, where they just like kind of mess up, but you remember them forever as exceptionally kind because they always give you that warm, fuzzy feeling inside, that's exactly what we're talking about right there. Your feelings and your emotions are some of your strongest motivators. And if you tie those in to what you're doing, then you can't lose. So think about like, I don't know, having a conversation with your significant other, for instance. Like, how much more receptive is somebody going to be if you give them a message coming from love versus coming from impatience or anger or guilt? Like, the human body picks up on that, and you pick up on that from yourself even more than someone else, right? So next time that you're trying to prove to yourself something or that you're trying to give yourself a message, come from love, come from abundance, come from joy. There's actually a list of the human emotion, and it's ranked on your energetic frequency. So the highest emotions here in this chart are enlightenment, peace, joy, love, reason. Those are where you should be coming from when you're looking to make those changes in yourself. Don't come from shame, which is way down there at the bottom, or anger or guilt. If you want to make positive changes, draw from a positive source and bring yourself to a positive place. Here we go. Next up here is how do we make these changes? You got to control your mind. You got to pose a question here for you. Are you your thoughts? Or are you your thoughts? Yes? I would disagree.
Yeah.
Right? But let me hear your reason. Why do you think that you are your thoughts?
Because you think about them. They come to your mind, and then it's up to you whether or not you act on them and bring them to fruition.
Okay. What about you?
Really quite sure, honestly. Your thoughts. Yeah, I don't know. I have to think about that.
Okay. I would say that your thoughts are a major part of you, but at the end of the day, you're something bigger. So I challenge you from this perspective, like akin to a computer programmer in the program he types or she types. Your thoughts will be the program. You are the programmer. So your thoughts can be formulated over experience, or they can kind of happen naturally based off of previous reactions. But at the end of the day, you have the complete ability to cancel all of that out or insert a new program. And that's where you have to come from. And then you have to back that with your emotion, right? So we have something called a mental diet. And your mental diet basically is your thoughts, what you feed yourself, what you read, what you watch. Just like your normal diet is what you eat. What you put into your brain has an effect on what comes out of your brain, has an effect on your actions, has an effect on your life, essentially. So we have something here called apps versus ants, right there. Your apps are your automatic positive thoughts, right? Also known as your self-hypnosis, and your ants are your automatic negative thoughts, also known as your self-deceptions. And these are how to handle them. So you've got symptoms and signals, right? Or actually, your symptoms are signals. You think about your symptoms, but they're actually signals. So if you come in with a backache, people think that, oh, I'm experiencing this symptom or my stomach hurts, but really your body is telling you a signal like, yo, something's wrong. Something you need to get taken care of in your nervous system. If you got your back hurting, your spine might not be aligned, or you're not using your posture properly. Your body is trying to give you a message, it's conveying a message. So when you have those negative thoughts, take that as a signal for you to stop, right? You alert, pay attention to what's going on in your head, pause. Don't automatically conform to those thoughts. Just stop, think about it, like, why am I feeling this way? And you cancel it. Let that go. Just completely throw that out of your mind, right? And then replace it with something positive, like positive affirmation. So you can reframe your negative thoughts as well by seeing adversity as an opportunity. So any challenges that you're having, you got to see them as challenges. This is an opportunity to rise up. This is an opportunity to step outside of your comfort zone, to get better. And that reframing over time will become automatic because you are the programmer. You're going to be typing that in so many times, your computer's just going to eventually learn, okay, I was driving and I caught a flat tire. Like, this isn't a bad thing. This is just an opportunity for me to work on my tire changing skills. Let's beat that 20-minute record and get it down to 18:30 or something like that. And also, you have to watch the words that you feed yourself in your mental diet. So as well, in your packet, I gave you guys a list of words here, because what you tell yourself becomes your actions, becomes your life. So you got to use kinder words with yourself. So if you're telling yourself that you're being excessive by going after the things that you want, try using a word like abundant. I exist in abundance. It's not excess. And then life is made for abundance. So that way, going after the things that you want, wanting nice things, like the world wants you to thrive, the world wants you to succeed, and so do I. So I want you to start using these words instead. So if something is disrupted, you can start telling yourself you're harmonious. Or, if you're lucky, start saying that you're gifted or you're blessed, because those words tend to reframe your mindset and allow you to empower yourself, right? So the thing about this, though, is we got to set some goals. Your brain is an extremely, extremely smart machine. So you can't really fool it. You can't tell your brain, like, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow, because deep down inside, your subconscious is going to be like, how? Okay. You know what I mean? So there's probability versus possibility. Something is possible, but doesn't mean that it's necessarily probable. You need to take immediate action steps, and your brain is going to listen to these action steps. And that's how you're going to reach your goals and be able to reframe your mindset more effectively. So to rewind, basically what we're doing here is we are stopping any negative thoughts, canceling that out, using them as signals instead of symptoms, finding out what's triggering that thing, what's triggering that behavior, reframing that behavior, throwing some positive affirmations in there with positive words, and then seeing adversity as an opportunity so that we can take action, ultimately. And taking action looks like this. This is what we like to call a war plan here in the office. One of the things that we hear from people all the time is that, oh, I just don't have enough time to do my exercises, or I just don't have enough time to do this. Like, the most successful people in the world are given the same 24 hours that you're given, that I am given. And what's the difference between them or me or you is what they do with those 24 hours, right? So we like to break these down, break the 24 hours down into either 15-minute increments, hour-long increments. You can map out your entire day, and you start doing this by deciding what is important to you, coming up with your priorities, right? So in order to get to this work plan, you write your priorities out, and it can be like 1 to 10 things, and start from what's most important in your life to what's least important in your life, but still on that priorities list. So it's not like it's not important, it's just not the top 5 or 6. So like for instance, so if the most important thing in your life is your relationship with God, that'd be number 1. Number 2 could be your relationship with yourself, with your significant other, your business, your job, fitness, your body, your mental health. Put all those things in order and then plot them down in your order on your work plan. And then you start to take action. The day doesn't seem so daunting. You understand, where your priorities are. Like if you've got some work that you really need to do, and your business is number 4 in your priorities list, and your friend hits you up and is like, hey, let's go outside, let's go downtown and get a drink, and hanging out with your friends is number 8 on your priorities list, it's a no-brainer because you're 4 versus 8. 4 is going to win every time. And that's exactly what this is about. And this is Dr. Osborne's work plan, so that's intense right there. Mine doesn't really look like that, but I'm working up to it. So there you go. All right. So you just got to start asking yourself the right questions. What is your why? Why are you here? Why do you exist? What does your life look like? What do you want in your life? What do you want your life to look like? And do these answers align? Also, are you willing to do the work to make those 2 things align? We got to be honest with ourselves, If you're not willing to do the work, then we got to change these. If you're not willing to do the work, then that's not what you want your life to look like at the end of the day. So I challenge you to go home and just think about these questions and then plot your war plan accordingly, right? So this is something I like to finish off that segment. It's a little quote. It says, remember, no more effort is required to aim high in life, to demand abundance and prosperity than is required to accept misery and poverty. So if you're not happy with where you are, if you're going to work every day and you're like grinding it out and you're struggling, like you're already doing the work. It's just going in the wrong direction. So you can literally at any moment change your mindset, put in that exact same amount of work, change your momentum in the opposite direction, and you're a brand new person just because you decided to make that shift. And that's why mindset is so important. It's crucial. And that's why it's also super crucial for our office, because that's how you get the most out of your care, right? Or your nervous system. So our essential tools, you maximize the nerve supply, because we're here to get better results faster, not worse results slower. And the reason that this is so important, right? And I know that we both heard this in our day 1, it's like God put the amazing power to heal inside your brain, comes out via your spinal cord, out to your nerves, which goes to all your organs, cells, and tissue, doing all of your functions, allowing your eyes to work so you can see this chart, your ears to work so that we can hear and have this conversation right now. You're basically a miracle at the end of the day. And knowing that with your mind, with your mindset, and understanding that as you come in and you get adjusted and you work on your nervous system is basically the best place that you can be when you come in for your adjustment on a daily basis, or however long you're supposed to be here. So we are a Tier 3 healthcare office, and what that means is that we work on strengthening your health, right? So Tier 1 would be like reactive or crisis care. So essentially say like somebody gets into an accident, they lose a leg, right? They have to go to the emergency room and get patched up, and thank God for that, because if that wasn't there, like people would be just having these minor accidents, or not necessarily minor, but could be losing their lives over these potentially like savable happenstances, so that we don't always see eye to eye with a Tier 1 doctor, because we operate in the Tier 3 side of healthcare. So Tier 2 would be almost like prevention, like going to get a mammogram or a colonoscopy just in case, like, you want to see if anything's there, or you want to make sure that everything's all healthy. But Tier 3 is strengthening your health, right? So the more that you work in your Tier 3 area, you have less need for Tier 2 and Tier 1, because there's no reason that you should, be succumbing to cancer, or there's no reason that you should be having all these crazy traumas, because your body's just going to be working better overall. Like you're going to have better reflexes, better health. You're going to have, even better decision making, because you're already going to be in that mindset. So in order to get there, to operate in that tier 3 mindset, remember we've got to take self-responsibility for the things you say. You've got to believe that you're powerful, right? Because health is an inside-out thing. And for the record, our care plan is meant to be finished on time. Each and every one of you, we're given an individual care plan. So that care plan is meant to be done to the T. So we've looked at your x-rays, we've taken all of your information, your data, and you're compiled it together. And we've taken your goals, and we've basically said, if this is the person that you want to be, here's how we're going to help you get there, right? And it has to be congruent, which is why we tell people to go home and to think about those questions. Because if you really want to reach there, if you really want to reach that potential that you say that you want, that our office is really, really rooting for you to have in every adjustment that I deliver, I'm really just hoping that this is the one that just sparks that amazing fuel or releases that already innate intelligence in that person to allow them to be the best that they can be. And that's that at the end of the day. So your care plan is really important. If you're supposed to come 3 times a week, be here 3 times a week. If you know you have to miss some days next week, go ahead and make those up in advance so that you don't lose that momentum. Because you're not only losing momentum, you're not only losing your progress, you're going back in the opposite direction when you're not matching your care plan, right? And that's not the opposite direction in your health alone, it's the opposite direction from your goals, from the potential that we wanted you to have there. Essential number 3, maximize nutrition. So, I know like a lot of people say like in order to be nutritious, you have to add a whole bunch of things into your diet, but that might be true in some cases, but mostly what we focus on here for our nutrition is basically removing the things that you shouldn't have, right? And when you do that, there's only good stuff left around to eat, and it becomes pretty simple, honestly. So our number 1 goal here with our nutrition is to reduce inflammation in the body. Inflammation is the source of pain, it's the source of sickness and disease. It's basically what causes like all of the worst diseases like, obesity, congestive heart failure, Alzheimer's, diabetes, all of that comes from inflammation in some way, shape, or form, right? Your body already knows how to fix things. Like all you have to do is basically not mess it up at the end of the day. Your body's born brilliant. We've already established that you're a miracle, right? Like you're the fastest out of 400 million swimmers and somehow made it to the egg, and now you're existing on this planet and you're listening to me do this talk right now, which is pretty wild at the end of the day, but we're not gonna go off the deep end with that one. But our first thing for our nutrition is our fats. I know a lot of diets tell people to remove fat, and that's actually the exact opposite of what you want to do, but you want to eat your healthy fats, right? So that your body becomes a fat burner. Because when you're burning fat, you're not burning sugar, your body operates healthily, and the healthy fats are anti-inflammatory, right? So your body aches don't just happen normally due to your age, like most people think. They actually occur due to inflammation, right? And your fats are fatty acids, basically like removing the ones that we don't need, like our vegetable oils and like canola oil, sunflower oil, things like that. Those are actually really, really bad because they cause inflammation in your body, right? And I know there were previous diets that were telling people to remove that and replace them with vegetable oils, but they didn't realize that they were causing so much harm to their body in all of their systems as well. So basically, you just need to do an oil change to avoid your bad fats, right?
So what's a good oil to use? Peanut oil?
Coconut oil would be good. Avocado oil is good. Olive oil. And remember that those have to be cooked at a certain temperature. So if you're smoking, you're actually changing the chemical compound of the oils, and it's becoming a bad fat. There's also a list of other good fats in the book, but basically what you want to do is you want to start eating your omega-3s, and those are the anti-inflammatory fats. Those are found in like seafood, like salmon, cod, also in nuts, but they have to be unroasted nuts because once you roast them, remember we're changing the configuration and it's becoming a bad fat there. And I encourage you guys to read your Align Your Health book if you haven't already. It's only 13 chapters. 1 chapter a week is really all it takes. And in fact, we don't even encourage people to read more than that, because 1 chapter a week allows you to really digest it, it allows you to internalize it, and it allows you to share it with other people. We encourage you to share this information. We encourage you to basically preach it, because that allows you to live by it. Like once you tell somebody like, no, we're not doing bad fats anymore, we're actually gonna change our oils, so we're gonna switch our sunflower oil over to avocado oil or over to coconut oil, that basically puts you in a stance where you're forced to acknowledge that this is a decision that you're making, And the next time you reach for that oil to cook, or you eat something that you know is terrible for you, you're gonna have that internal dialogue where you're like, I gotta start practicing what I preach here. And that's actually gonna propel you to action right there. So you gotta speak it into someone else, because whatever you say out loud becomes your truth, right? So no hydrolyzed oils, you can read that on the back. Replace it with salmon, cod, coconut oil with low heat, and eat more O3 or omega-3s versus omega-6s. We have more information available on our YouTube class. We also have a nutrition, one of our YouTube channel. It's Discover Chiropractic San Jose on YouTube. You can look at our Nutrition 101 class. There's also a whole bunch of other resources there for you for every other 5 essential class, or 5 essential category there. Number 2 is our sugar, right? Oops, forgot about this. You got to change your meats and your dairy as well. So as far as your fats go, when they feed cows grains, what happens to the cows?
You get fat.
You get fat, right?
Sure.
And so if you're eating those cows, what's going to happen to you?
Same thing.
Exactly, right? But when your cows eat grass, then what happens?
Leaner.
They're leaner, they're nice, they're healthy. So you've got to go for your grass-fed beef, and then you got to avoid most of your dairy, except for raw milk is actually pretty good for you, but you know that's debatable. But I just kind of throw that out there, yeah, as well. So sugar, man, this is like honestly one of the worst things ever. They did, and the reason why it is the worst, but it's only second on the chart, is because it's so addictive. Actually, there was a study done with the rats where basically they gave them the option between table sugar and cocaine, and guess which one they chose every time? Yeah, table sugar. It's super, super addictive to your brain. Your brain has all these receptors for it because your body actually makes it. So you know the things that you eat are already transformed into sugar inside of your bloodstream, and there's only one chemical that's made for down-regulating sugar, and that's insulin. So you get that super serious sensitivity, but there's a whole bunch of other chemicals that are made for accessing it. So just wanted to give you a heads up about that. Plus, it creates inflammation in your body. And remember that inflammation is basically the cause of like all of that negative stuff.
But natural sugars are good, right? Like from fruits and vegetables.
Fruits and vegetables, yes, but you got to keep in mind that like back in the day when humans were operating how our bodies were designed to, not sitting in chairs, walking miles on miles, hunting our meat, which was like completely grass-fed and organic, right? The opportunity for you to like come across an apple tree or like a banana and like eat it was pretty rare. So like your natural sugars aren't supposed to be ingested as like everyday things, you know what I mean? Or they can be eaten seasonally. So that's basically my take on that. There are like healthy natural sugars, like they're definitely better than the alternatives of using like table sugars, and fruits and vegetables are an important part of your diet, but just keep that in mind as well. So you don't overdo it and have like 10 bananas a day, because that's actually a ton of sugar and it's very low for in fiber count as well, which is really important, right? So we got the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So the good substitutes here are stevia, xylitol, and erythritol. These are actually pretty nice. They taste okay. I like to use stevia myself. It's pretty similar to a sweetener, not super terrible for the aftertaste. Xylitol works as well, but be careful there, because if you eat too much of it, you'll have to go to the bathroom. No breaks.
It's a good thing, right?
I mean, yeah, but depending on your situation, it might be where you're at.
I cook with coconut oil and it makes you use about it.
That's true, but xylitol's like,
More.
boom, like we're ready right now. The bad, agave nectar, honey, and maple syrup, right? All these things seem natural, right? And they are. Not saying that you can't have them every once in a while, but if you think about the things that you would have to go through in order to get these in the wild, like go find a beehive and like dig it out, eat it. Like you had to be like a bear in order to just like have honey all the time back in the day. And maple syrup, like don't get me started, like you have to like chisel a spigot into a tree and wait hours for it to drip out. Like so, yeah, they're natural, but they're not necessarily the best for your body. And the ugly, aspartame, sucralose, high fructose corn syrup, these are literally neurotoxins. So they affect your nervous system, which in turn affects every single like aspect of your body, including your mindset.
Yeah, the high fructose corn syrup. I always look for that in the back of stuff.
Yeah, it's super bad for you. It's super, super bad for you. So, and also, you gotta watch the grains that you eat too, because they transform to sugar inside of the bloodstream. So a lot of bread, boom, turns right into sugar. Same thing with beer. One more thing to say about that too, actually.
Is there no good bread to eat then, or you should just cut it out of your diet?
Not necessarily cut out of your diet, because your body needs carbohydrates, right? So like whole grains, but it's just like the situation with the cows, right? Like the more that you eat, the more that it turns into negative stuff inside of your body, and basically like causes inflammation inside of your bloodstream. So that's why we got to drop our sugar. We got to drop our negative fats and add your healthy fats, right?
Is that popcorn? Looks like popcorn, spaghetti, and chips.
Yep.
There goes popcorn.
Dang. we gotta cut it back just a little bit. The third thing is toxins. We're actually going to talk about that later, because minimizing toxins is its own essential. But in order to have a good diet, we do have to minimize our toxins, right? Because if you're just constantly eating junk like aspartame, like drinking diet sodas, that's super, super bad for you. It causes disruption in your GI tract, which means that you can't absorb the good nutrients that you do eat. And if you can't absorb good nutrients, then what's the point in like adding them into your diet, you know? But just to bring it back to fats again, it's estimated that in the year 2040, that 1 in 2 people over the age of 65 will have Alzheimer's. Well, because of the current diet that we eat right now. So replacing your negative fats, dropping your sugars, basically adding in your omega-3s, actually drops your risk for Alzheimer's by about 600%.
I take fish oil every day.
Boom.
So
That's it.
I'm not
Right there.
gonna sit there and eat salmon every day. I'm like,
No, most definitely. Like, there's a way easier way to do it, right? But the important thing about your omega-3s as well is there's a certain ratio of 2 molecules in the fat. So it's your EPA to DHA ratio. Your EPA should be as close as 2 to 1 over your DHA as possible, so that you can get the maximum anti-inflammatory effect inside of your bloodstream. So just a heads up. There we go. And then we've got our toxins here. You got your dirty 12 and your clean 15, your dirty dozen. These are all of the things that are grown, even when they say or that you need to eat organic, because strawberries, spinach, nectarines, apples, peaches, cherries, pears, grape, celery, tomatoes, sweet bell peppers, and potatoes are all vulnerable to basically the toxic pesticides that they spray. And you can wash them and soak them all you want, but it's like it really soaks in there. Versus your clean 15, which is your sweet corn, avocados, pineapples, cabbage, onions. I'm not going to read this entire list, but these things all have really, really tough outer fibrous shells. So the things that you can kind of remove and wash, and it's really hard for the pesticides to sink into them. This is also available as well in a handout form if you want to look at it later. But these are all things that are usually relatively safe to eat, and that you don't necessarily have to get organic. But still organic is best because you're getting the most nutrients as well. So, to your essential number 4, oxygen and exercise. So I know you guys have been watching my surge videos at home, and I hope that you have too, wherever you are at home. You can come over here and look in the camera. You. Oxygen and exercise is extremely important, right? Basically, it does so many great things for your body. Like the more that you exercise, the more increased oxygen intake that you have, the more effectively you burn fuel, helps with your digestion, basically does like increases your energy. It pumps lymph through your system so that you can stay healthy, because the main way for your lymphatic system to pump, it doesn't actually have a pump like your blood vessels have your heart. Your lymphatic system works mostly from moving your legs. So your quads and your gastric medius muscles pump your lymph, and then it basically circulates through your body and then takes all of your toxins out and then exits it out. It also grows your hippocampus, which is a certain region in your brain that's responsible for memory and recollection, so it makes you more intelligent as well. So, oxygen and exercise, right?
Okay.
It increases your growth hormone, which makes you basically leaner, stronger, basically anything that you really, really want. Oxygen and exercise also provides it for you, right? So it makes your body burn fat, not sugar. So if you cut out your sugar, you work on your oxygen and exercise, you avoid your toxins, these are just going to be some simple, easy steps to just maximize your potential. It also clears out your thoughts, right? So you have less interference inside of your brain, less fatty deposits, so leading to Alzheimer's, and it just makes you sharper all around, right? So most people say like, I don't have the time to exercise, which is not true, because I first post surge videos online every night, and we have post surge class like on Mondays and Wednesdays at 6:15, and it's literally a 15-minute workout. And the crazy thing about surge is that it works with this principle that increases your oxygen burning over time. So basically, it works up to 24 hours after your workout, so that your body can continue to burn fat from only 15 minutes. And everybody has 15 minutes. And you only just do it like 3 times a week. So finding 15 minutes 3 times a week is definitely not possible, right? So that's why it's so important. And then we even give you the max T3 subscription with your we even give you the max T3 subscription when you first come. So inside the Align Your Health book, there should be a little bookmark taped in the front. You can go online. Max T3 is basically a whole list of HIIT work, not whole list, but a whole archive of HIIT workouts, which is the high intensity interval training, which is essentially what surge is. So you have a whole archive of all these workouts, like 15 to 18 minutes long, and they're just literally at your fingertips. Like everybody's at their computers 24/7 these days. So you can find 15 minutes to just back up from the computer and make it work, like make it happen. Right? That's it, right there. So for essential number 5, minimizing toxins. What is the highest toxin that people are exposed to every day these days?
Automobile exhaust.
Fluoride.
Nope. Actually, that's a good one though.
Cat food.
It's actually their medications.
Oh.
Yeah, like 1 in 2 people, almost, it's like, I think it's over 50% are actually on medications right now. And they all have these crazy side effects. Like, you take a medication for an upset stomach, and it's like, side effect, you're gonna die. Like,
Yeah.
Which makes no sense, because you're just trying to get rid of your upset stomach. So that could definitely be counted as a toxin. Like, if it's causing all these other problems in your body, it's got to be toxic to your body in some way, shape, or form, right? There's also your body care products, your household products have all these chemicals in them, basically, that you don't want to deal with, that your body doesn't want to deal with. Your cooking ware, all of that seeps into your food, your skin, and also your water source, fluoride. So we got to make sure that we're getting rid of those negative things, like for your body care products and your household products. There's actually an app called Think Dirty, which basically tells you what's going on inside of your products. And we also have an entire list of household cleaning products and body care products. You can ask any one of our CAs, and they should be able to access it for you here at the office, and that'll let you know like what's going on. But the Think Dirty app, you just basically, like, I think you can scan a barcode or look it up, and it tells you like what is inside of the product that is actually a toxin for you. So that's pretty awesome. And then drink filtered water as well. And then not even from plastic bottles, ideally, because you know the BPA plastic that's inside of the bottles is super bad for you. All right, so back to our goal. Probability versus possibility, right? Everybody inside of them has this super amazing person that they can be. Like, I believe that everyone's here for a purpose. Whether or not you live up to that purpose, it's up to you at the end of the day. There's a possibility for you know, the possibilities are endless when you're born. Like, I tell you that you can be anything. And like, your choices and your actions and your thoughts are the only things that keep you from reaching that full potential, right? So there's a possibility, here's a probability. Most people are operating somewhere in between there by making some good decisions, some bad decisions. And at the end of the day, we're really not in a healthcare crisis. Like, we're in a lifestyle crisis because people aren't reaching their potential. Like obesity, diabetes, heart disease, all of that stuff could be avoided. Like, you know, I'm not saying that people aren't born with it, and that's true, but even at the end of the day, you can change your genetics through the lifestyle that you live, through the thoughts that you think, by getting adjusted, making sure that your body functions optimally. So if you implement a different strategy, you're gonna have a different outcome, and you're gonna have a different outcome. What is this?
A stool?
Yes, it is. Specifically, it's a three-legged. Love it. Love it. So this three-legged stool is basically an analogy for how important this care is in the office, right? The 3 things that hold up that stool are your lifestyle, your home care, and your rhythm of your adjustments. And that's how you're gonna maximize your care here in the office. So number one, your lifestyle. You're either toxic or deficient, or you're pure and sufficient, right? If you're living a toxic and deficient lifestyle, you're harming your body, you're not living up to your full potential. But if you're pure and sufficient, you don't need toxins. You get to cut the sugar, crank up the healthy fats, clean up your protein. Don't eat any of that like corn-fed beef that's like trapped in cages. Eat free-range eggs instead of just like the normal Safeway eggs. Dr. Osborne honestly has said before that he'd really even have people be vegetarian and eat bad meat. Like, and I would agree, like try to eat the best meat that you can. And you don't need like a huge steak. Like you just need like the protein that you need, which is roughly supposed to be like 3 ounces allegedly, which is about the size of a deck of cards. But it kind of depends on your like size and build per person. And care about your nutrients, please. Be pure and sufficient, not toxic and deficient, because that's going to lead you to reaching that potential that you're here for. Like, that's why we're here in this class. Your Align Your Health book goes through all of this stuff. Even has like super great recipes in it. If you want to read more in depth about anything, like your Align Your Health book is your go-to. So please read that. Also, I'm doing a webinar on the 24th on mindset. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of interesting things. Like, so if you guys like anything about what I talked about today on your mindset, that's actually just like the tip of the iceberg. We're going to be going in depth about how to change your thoughts, how to basically become and establish the person that you want. There was a sign-up sheet in the back, but if you're interested in it, we can just talk to the ladies at the front, and then we can either come here in person if we have enough slots, or we can watch it at home. Your daily essentials right there. Lifestyle. So basically, there are a whole bunch of things that have been missing from our lives. Like people are so deficient in their vitamins, right? So we've got our daily essentials for women and our daily essentials for men. They've got pretty much everything that you need. We've got magnesium. We've got our men's multivitamin, which has zinc, which a lot of men are deficient in. B complex, vitamin D3 with your probiotics to make sure that your gut health is great. Your optimal omegas, so you're getting your healthy fats. And essentially, like anything that you could really need or that you're deficient in, Maximize Living actually did a study and found the most deficiencies like in the human diet right now. I think I'm not sure how many people they did, but it was a pretty large study in all of their deficiencies, and they threw everything together and made it into daily essentials for men and for women specifically. Now, magnesium is one that's really, really important. Actually, like the magnesium in the soil has dropped in the last 40 years by about like 90 to 100%, and it's used in over about like 300 different chemical and cellular functions inside of your body. So you can imagine that like if you don't have that super essential nutrient right there, like your body's not going to be running as it should. Boom, crisis care. So this here is basically a representation of what? Pain is actually just what? Quick pop it.
Inflammation.
Boom, high five. Nice. Right there. So we actually have a series of supplements here at the office dedicated to inflammation. So if you're ever in a lot of pain, we combat that with these. This is our Purifleminics. It's a natural cream. We also have a supplement as well. These two, and then our omega-3s, which directly translates into an anti-inflammatory substance in your body once you eat it. And that's why they're so essential, because they keep your body healthy, because inflammation is at the root of disease, like in all ways, shape, or form, right? The human body is not supposed to have it. Like, you just gotta get rid of it. So when you have a cut on your finger and you're feeling that pain, it's not the pain from the cut, it's the pain from the inflammation that you're feeling. If you're having your nerve pain, like if somebody has sciatica, it's inflammation. Like that translates, that sends those signals into your brain. So that's what you gotta get rid of. The Inflamadex pills are on back order right now, but this is the cream. But we'll have that. So this is our crisis care package here. So we got the cream, the Inflamadex pills, and the omega-3s. So if anybody is in like acute pain, that's what you need to come into the office and grab.
How long does it take that to react?
It depends on your body. How effective is your nervous system at activating your GI tract and distributing those treats there. So it really depends on each person, but it does work, absolutely. And then for people who want to clean up their diet, it's called the second step up here, but it's actually called step 1 inside your packet. This is amazing. Dr. Osborne has given this to people and they've had complete turnarounds in their lives. I'm talking losing like 30 pounds in a month, coming back from diagnosis of like congestive heart failure or heart disease, simply from following this diet, like eating green, raw, organic vegetables during the day. You're taking your cell detox in the morning, 30 minutes before the meal, taking your daily defense with the food, and taking your body detox 1 hour before you go to bed. You gotta continue to take your daily detox as directed. You can eat as much green vegetables, raw, organic as you want, like literally till you're sick in the face. Like, just keep going there. Drinking your pure, unfiltered water, dropping your sugars and your toxins out, and then changing your fats as well. You're going to be drinking 4 shakes a day of your perfect whey or plant protein and your green vibrants together. These guys right here. And what that does is just basically gives your body all the nutrients you need. And then we do have the plant protein option in case you're vegetarian. Also for those of you at home as well. And it just like completely changes your lifestyle. Like it's amazing. Like I said, like we've had patients drop like 30 pounds, like 15 pounds, 20 pounds in as little as 30 days. Like, and it just happens like that. So if anybody here is going through something serious, any heart conditions, we recommend our Step 1 program. And then you can actually come into the office and get more information about it as well. Yeah, and so there's our detox system, daily defense. We throw collagen in there. It's really important. Collagen is super essential for like all of your joints, your skin. It keeps your skin nice and taut, and then also protects your joints as well. And then we've got our home care, second leg of the stool right there. All this stuff may look simple, but really like it's super, super crucial. Like your cervical tractions right there, that's your arc of life curve regeneration tool. Like your arc of life is super important. Your cervical spine, every single nerve in your body exits through your cervical spine, right? And if all of those nerves are going down to control your body, like even down to your organs, cells, and tissues, wouldn't you want to make sure that your cervical spine is taken care of? Because if something is going on in your cervical spine and it affects every single nerve in your body, how's the rest of your body going to function? Right? It's not going to be as healthy as it needs to be. Wobble cushion, right here, your wobble disc. Super important. Like people think it's just like, oh, I'm just going to sit on these and do my exercises. But what most people don't know is that motion increases the delivery of nutrition to your brain and spinal cord. And in fact, your discs don't even have their own vascular delivery system. Your discs work by movement. So the only way that they can get all the negative things out, like the debris, the toxins, is basically by moving, by doing your wobbles. And that's how they take in all of the good things, like your proteins, the water that they need to hydrate. Oh, by the way, also for your diet, you should be cutting your weight in half, and that's how many ounces of water that you should be drinking a day as well. So that full range spinal exercise is going to allow your discs to regenerate, and they actually did a study as well. And 500 days is required for metabolic interchange by sedentary patients. So that means if you're not moving at all, and you're basically just completely degenerating your discs right there, you do 120 reps a day for 500 days. That's gonna mix in your glucosamine and chondroitin, basically all of your proteins that make the discs, and it's gonna regenerate them, and you can actually rebuild your discs. And we have you doing them twice a day, so you can probably even do less reps, but I encourage you to just do the max and exactly what's your care plan right there. The Vibe machine that we have in the office, which will be open ASAP, increases your growth hormone by 361%. So if you're exercising and you're trying to look good, testosterone is increased by 7%. Your cortisol is decreased by 32%, which means that like your stress levels overall are going to be dropping by 1/3 just from standing on that platform. Blood flow is increased 100%, and pain is reduced by 66%.
Is it vibration?
Yeah, just from vibrations.
Yeah.
Just from vibrations. So it's pretty awesome. We got some really amazing available tools here for you in the office. And then your action steps to getting better results faster. At the end of the day, it's the 5 essentials, right? Getting your core chiropractic, getting your good nutrition, working on your mindset, making sure that you believe that you can achieve the goals that you're coming here with, you know? Like if you imagine like somebody that truly believes in the power of the adjustment that they're getting, that believes in their body's ability to heal, that's like, okay, like this chiropractic care that I'm getting is like a great tool that's gonna help me reach my like maximum potential. instead of just like, oh, I'm getting my neck adjusted, like, you know, instead of coming from a place of fear when you're getting adjusted, come from a place of empowerment. This is a decision that I'm making to allow myself to become my best self, like to reach heights that I've never even like seen before, right? Your oxygen exercise, boosting your growth hormone, like releasing those endorphins, looking good in the mirror when you check yourself out in the morning, which always feels nice, minimizing your toxins, right? Eliminating all that stuff from your body, just being able to be your best self at the end of the day. And that's what we're here for. And that is the end of my presentation.
Great.
So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
No problem. We're actually selling our packages here.
Okay.
For, oh, let me go ahead and stop the. Alyssa, just press stop. You good?
I'm okay.
All right, just press pause.